All right, I think let's get started. And maybe a few more people who join. But first of all, want to welcome everybody. Really excited to have another discussion with Scott Prentice. Uh, uh, Tonight, I'm going to speak very quickly about what we do at Plant. Give you more time with Scott to talk about the work that he is doing. We have a number of clients in common, and we're going to really try to reserve most of the time for your questions. Um, Big picture, want to clarify that for those of you who may not know, there are two main groups with whom you will work on a rebuild project. Your architect, Scott, to do design, to get your permits, to create the documents that we need to build, that your general contractor who will be doing the site work um, needs to do the work. And then once you have your permits and they will bid your work to some general contractors to do that work. And once you have your permits and your GC selected, your main relationship will be with your general contractor because they're the ones who will actually do the work. Scott still stays involved. He'll tell you about that. He does what's called construction administration and make sure they're building in conformance with the plan. He'll come to our plant and do the same kind of thing, but your main relationship at that point is your GC. So two main groups with whom, and this applies whether it's rebuilding or just any kind of custom home that you design for your lot. Architect, design, GC. So to be clear, our role, we work with Scott during the design phase to make sure that what he's designing for you, we can build efficiently with some combination of panels and modules. We'll talk about that later. And then we actually build and sell our components to your general contractor. We're like a master sub to them. And we do it that way because we want you to have one group, your GC, who is responsible for all of your construction, whether it happens at our factory or it happens on site. If you have any questions, concerns, one group to go to, warranty issues, one group to go to. They own everything. So that's how we work. And of course, we there are a number of GCs with whom we work that we recommend you work with, you consider when you get to that phase. Okay, that's big picture. Why we're here tonight. We're here to mostly learn about what Scott does. I want to start by acknowledging for those of you who lost homes, condolences. Scott lived and worked in the Palisades, lost both his home and his office, as you'll hear. We've done many rebuild projects. Many of my friends lost their homes. My mom grew up in the Palisades. If you're in that area, so I have some sense of the stress and the pain and just the challenges that are involved with rebuilding and our role hopefully is to help you get back to your homes and neighborhoods as quickly as possible. Okay, before we get started, would love to hear from anyone who wants to share why you're here. I'll just call out the names I see. If you want to say anything, great. If not, no problem. Daniel, Michelle.
I just want to hear about what you offer and how the process works. So I'm looking forward to the presentation. Lost our home in the Palisades. My kind of distant relative is also already working with Scott, um, Nora Dennis,
Oh
and
my gosh.
yeah, she gave me your number. We live down on Livorno, or lived, and so we're close by to her, and she gave me your number, and that's why I'm here. Thank
That's
you.
great.
Welcome. Daniel, by the way, wrote, I am a friend and big fan of Scott Prentice and his work. Okay, thanks, Daniel. Susan, I think you've been here before, right, Susan?
And and Susan is a neighbor.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, we know each other well as Dan and Michelle. I can just sorry to all of you for losing your homes, and we're all we're all just trying to figure out how to get ourselves back in place. But we lived on Akron, so we're right around the corner from you.
I walk by your house all the time.
Okay, good.
Well, skipping ahead, I'm super excited to say that Scott's Home will be the first rebuild project for which we will start production, and that should happen in the next month or so. I'm really honored that Scott chose to work with us, and we're working with a bunch of his clients. Let me quickly tell you about Plant, and then let's save most of the time for Scott. And to do so, I just want to show you a quick video about our factory and what we do. We're kind of unique in the prefab world. We focus on custom architecture. That's our reason for being. We were set up after I had a design and development company for 10 years, working with 10 different factories, and it was just never easy to work with those guys, and sort of finally concluded there should be a new company that's set up to work with any architect, people like Scott who do incredible design work, in order to give them, really frankly their clients, people like you, a more efficient way to build architectural projects. And all this kind of came. I originally I wanted to be an architect growing up. Had Legos and books on Frank Lloyd Wright as a kid. Got to college, did a design program, and learned that I really had neither the talent nor temperament to be an architect. God bless you, Scott. You do. But concluded that I really love design, and I think it's sort of profoundly important for society on many levels. Just great design matters. Sustainable design matters for where you all live. Climate resilient, fire resilient design matters. So I said, hopefully, I'm in a position to facilitate that someday. And so we spun out 9 years ago, Plant Prefab as a company to, as he said, work with any architect on custom projects as opposed to like products. And we started with one factory, got full. We opened the second factory, it got full. And then we made plans for our first ground up mega facility, which is what I'm showing you here. We opened this a little over a year and a half ago. It's 270,000 square feet, so 4 football fields. It's a $40 million facility. And I'm going to give you a quick tour, but I really want to highlight every project starts, and this is very different, as Scott can attest. Every project starts as a machine model. So we take the architecturals that Scott creates and we turn it into, again, it's called a machine model. Here's one for this affordable housing project we're doing. And we're fully coordinating the structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, so that we can clarify any coordination issues at that point instead of it during construction, which is often where you get change orders and schedule delays. We get an absolutely precise BOM, bill of materials, so we know exactly what we need to order, reduces material waste and cost. And lastly, embedded in the model is the machine code that tells our automated equipment, this is what you do. So we're going to now go through that automation. Every project starts here. This is a piece of equipment that cuts every piece of wood we use, every stud joist, rim joist, and not only cuts it, but it does any sort of complex cuts and dados that may be required, and all holes or routing. So no electrician or plumber measures anything. Gravity drops for plumbing. It's all done here. Every piece of wood is automatically labeled. We know what project, we know what part of the project. We then have three panel lines, and we do both panels and mods. We're the only facility that does that. I'll explain later what that means, but this is our wall panel line. So you just saw a piece of equipment that nails every stud and joist together. This then nails automatically the OSB and the weather wrap. It cuts out openings for windows and doors. And because it's built with automation, it's not only faster and more cost efficient, but super accurate. Every panel is absolutely level, straight, square, flush. This piece of equipment blows in insulation. It's 100% recycled cellulose, by the way, newsprint. Our tolerances are 1/32, which is like aerospace level. So you get really well-built structures. These are our panel lines where we put in windows and drywall and final weather proofing. And then we have three module lines where we put in your millwork, your finished plumbing and electrical, your tiles, paint. All testing is done here, not on site. The walls ship sealed with certificates, inspection certificates. The local authorities can't go behind walls. It's all done here. So modules and panels. Modules, as you see, they're like big Lego pieces. They're volumetric. They have one or more parts of a room. Panels are like a wall or a floor or roof. And as I said, we have the only factory in the US that does both. Every other prefab company pick one or the other. And they both have certain advantages and disadvantages. We can talk about that. But the point is, we're able to meet projects where they are based on the design. Some are all panel projects. Frankly, that sometimes because that's the only way we can get the components of the site. You can't get a module. This is a project in West Hollywood. First floor were all panels, second floor and third floor all modules. So with this capacity to do all mods and all to do mods or panels, as they said, sometimes it's all panels, sometimes it's all mods. Oftentimes for single family, it's a combination because that's the best way to meet the design, the budget, the schedule, and the transportation logistics. And again, if people want to get more into that, we can. So I'm going to pause there. Scott, why don't you tell people about what you do and show them some examples? And then, as he said, we're going to leave lots of time for Q&A.
Great. That's and it's just fascinating. Is that me? Okay. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay. All right. Thank you. Yes, we are very excited about this process for the specific complexities of rebuilding in the Palisades. And I just want to just quickly start with, and I'm sorry, Susan, this is going to be a repeat of what you've already seen, but we are relatively new to the prefabrication process. We came about it for completely different reasons than the Palisades, in doing work in Idaho, in a very construction compacted environment where we were waiting 2 years, or our clients were waiting 2 years for contractors to be available, and then at the completion of the 2 years, having them tell us, "Oh, we need another year." So that coupled with really dramatic price increases led us and our clients to look at potential other options, and prefabrication seemed to be an interesting approach. And so this was a project that our first project where we were able to have the unique opportunity to kind of pivot from conventional construction on a very tight site to a prefabrication model. And so it is a project with the all of these prefabrication projects um, are are um, uniquely challenging in a good way in terms of kind of demanding that just like any project that a floor plan really work well and be highly efficient. There's the added aspect to the idea that there are just a few I'll call them minor they're not constraints, but minor dimensional requirements that we have to adhere to. And so this is a project. This is a showing the second floor, which is the living level for this site, which is in downtown Ketchum on a very small site. It because of the zoning rules, it really demanded that we build this structure small and tall, so 3 stories tall, and it captures some amazing views. And this is a project that was set last summer, and this is the some construction photos showing this. This is what is a fairly common condition where the mods have arrived and the first one is being set here, and it's being set over a mechanical vault here, and it's also being set around some site built garage walls. Um, um, what Steve was saying about the panelized wall strategy, working with plant, these could very well be also built in the factory as well. Our own house is using a combination of mods and panels, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. So you're just seeing kind of the crazy ability of these and precision of even the set crews to be able to guide these into just the right space, and you can kind of see that as these are placed, there is, as Steve said, the tolerances are just amazing. We there are some different rules, but in general, we're working with as little as a 1/4 inch of tolerance, which is even, it sounds like much larger than what Steve's was talking about. You can see here, this was in the course of one day, this 3-story structure um, was placed. And so this shot here is at the end of the day as a 3-story building is in place. And you can see here, and there are lots of different ways to approach prefabrication, where you completely finish as much as you can in the factory, which makes a lot of sense for a lot of projects. That we tend to work on these projects that are like this, that most of the interior work is completed, and then we leave work to be done in the field, and we have different projects have different reasons to do that. And I'll kind of talk about those unique opportunities for field work one after set in the Palisades. And here you can see like tile is in place. This is actually at set day. So there's a plastic wall that was in place here for shipping. This was removed, and now this is a large open space. But you can also see the dimensional ability. These are very spacious spaces. You can see very large windows that are capturing really incredible views. So just quickly, just kind of showing kind of the project in sequence here and how our process works in terms of drawing. So I from that I wanted to kind of pivot to what we're doing in the Palisades. I am just including a few projects here as sort of as a starting off point, I guess. This is one of the first projects we started working on. It's on Hampton Place. If anybody's familiar with that, it's behind uh, where Village School was. A very small street. Under normal circumstances, it would probably be a real challenge to try to do a prefabrication project there with in terms of crane and truck access, but it's working quite well given that we have a lot of room to set things up. We're relying on neighboring lots for access for this. Um, so here is Hampton, and here is this location, and it's a sweet little house. It's for a very young couple who had just finished renovating their first home together. They're getting married next month, and now they are embarking on this project to build a two-story structure over a new basement. And that basement or partial basement includes garage accessible from the street, guest suite, some service areas, laundry, and then a main floor level with a second floor, third floor master suite and bedroom. It's a really sweet house. But you can see here, this is kind of speaking to that idea of leaving some of that exterior work for the field. Uh, they would not be able to use real stone veneer or stone cladding in the factory. So this is this home uses that as a kind of a wainscot material from a wainscot level on that main level down, which I think kind of is this hybrid strategy of being able to bring these prefabricated modules and letting the factory do what they do so well and so efficiently, and then also having our local contractors do what they do well, which is cladding these things, bringing that kind of detail and craft to the exterior of the home. And we're big on making sure that these homes don't read as a series of boxes. And so you can kind of see how there's a lot of push and pull to the massing that also works really well with the unique zoning constraints in the Palisades, in some areas of the Palisades. And again, kind of our hallmark are large windows which bring in a lot of light. We like the simplicity of these structures. We like the timelessness and the classic nature of them, and the idea that ultimately there's going to be a Palisades context there that we want to be part of. And I'll just say we really care about these buildings that we're designing in the Palisades. We care about them as being part of a community. But I would say that they're not about us trying to have a bunch of projects that people say, "Oh my gosh, those guys did that project." We're more about being in the trenches with you, getting you a home in the most beautiful and efficient way. So that's really our focus. This is a corner lot in the ABC streets. That is a single story, single family house with a semi-submerged garage and ADU right at the corner of Drummond and Chautauqua. And once again, just that kind of simple plan that is highly efficient. It's no slouch of a space, and you can kind of see up above, or you won't be able to read this, but it as Steve described, it's a series of artfully placed Lego blocks. And so this one is built in the factory. If you can see my cursor, this is built in the factory, or I'm sorry, they're all built in the factory, and this is a mod here. So three mods, and then a common process for us is how do you sort of break out of that box, and you do it in strategic ways. And so this is uh, we're about to find out whether this is panelized or field built. And then on the ground floor here, I'm sorry, there is a semi-submerged basement which has foundation walls, and then the ADU, which is a really nice size space with volume, is built by the factory and goes on top of that. So here's that building that has this wraparound porch and access to the yard here. And they have a nice yard space in the back as well. This project is quite different than the other two. This is a project on Embry in the ABC streets. And what we're finding is that there are people who are kind of all over the place about trying to be in that 110% or below, or even being at that 100%, being at I want my house back again, which I completely understand. Or this one, which is, and we had just finished a work on an extensive renovation on this house, and a year before the fire. So this family said, we have a do-over, and let's make lemonade out of lemon. So this has a full basement with 2 stories of structure that includes green roofs, and we've now added an ADU to this as well. And we're reusing a pool location that they had also finished previously. So this is just kind of an indication of the potential. There's just so much potential for working with prefabrication to make lots of different houses. And here again, you can kind of see this idea of a series of mods that get put together. This one is also includes a good amount of panelized system, and it's extraordinary that plant has that capability, as Steve said. It really opens up lots of potential options for us. And there's that so you can see that again, lots of openness to the yard, where we love the idea that the connection of interior to exterior spaces. This is a really great project for really great couple who have two lots that are back to back from Via de la Paz to Swarthmore, and they were very interested in making sure that there was a sense of community within not only with the greater Palisades community that they love, but also within the site itself. So these are three structures that that all have a connection with each other. They are separate, but they allow for kind of community connection. And so these backyards, while they're fenced, they're linked with the idea that these are people that like to spend time together, but also have their own homes. So this is a more conventional single family home, 2 stories on the Via de la Paz side. And you can see that this is a quite different configuration than a lot of the other plans that I've shown. But we really felt no constraint in how you make this kind of building work on this kind of site. And then this is a view of the Swarthmore house. So I didn't mention that this is 2 single-family homes with an ADU, a detached ADU in the backyard on the Swarthmore side, and then they are linked in that backyard area here. So here backyard to this side. We are showing them. They are 2 separate projects as far as the building department is concerned. So we're showing them that way. This is a project that is on Chattanooga, which is above where Michelle and Susan are, and right above us as well. And this is an all plaster house that is just looking at kind of a different aesthetic, and uh, um, that is also, I think, highly appropriate for this um, for the Palisades. And I hope what you see from these images is that there is, you know, the potential for design of these structures, I would say, is unlimited. We're still in the mode that of here's a new house for us. How is this house going to be distinctive? And then finally, the last one is just a house in the Huntington. This is the couple I mentioned who, I'm not sure everybody was on, but this is one we have started working on in the Huntington. And a lovely couple who have been here for a long time. Another beautiful corner lot, and that's using stone, and they're very interested in the connection of the house to the garden. And they have a site that allows for that, but you can kind of see how these series of mods are placed. And then there is a garage here that is either site built or panelized. And that's it. And I am happy to answer any questions if anybody have any.
Yeah, let me just jump in and say thank you, Scott. Really appreciate that. Some quick questions we inevitably get cost. I think as Scott can confirm, I think most of the projects that we're doing together, the total cost, including soft costs, kind of architecture fees. You don't have permit costs if it's a rebuild project. Consultants and hard costs, it's most of your budget. That's the actual construction, what happens on site, what happens in our factory. I think Scott mentioned last time budget CC are ranging from 600 to 800 a square foot. Is that still right, Scott?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Time frame, our part in the factory average 2,500, 3,000 square foot home takes 3 months to build, about a month before to procure the materials. Oh, by the way, that's in parallel to the site work. So the schedules I've seen, and again, Scott opine in, are talking 9 to 12 months from start of construction to completion. Does that comport with what you're hearing?
Yes, yes, yeah, and we're still operating under those assumptions. In the early days, kind of the biggest, we started off having a big unknown of how long is it going to take to clear sites. Now we know what that is. Our second unknown was how long is it going to take to get through the plan check process. And I am so happy to report that um, there are two plan check processes with modular construction. It goes through a state process and then it goes through the city process. And both of those, they are so on it. We've been and Plant is on it as well. We have three projects now that have been through the state plan check, and it's taken about a week. We then immediately submit. We got one yesterday, which we have submitted to local plan check today. And our home took 3 days for a plan check response from LA City, which is unheard of. And I'm hearing a lot of talk from my wife, who is on the neighborhood calls, and also running into people saying that people are having a tough time with plan check. And I can just say that we're not seeing it. And I have to say it's been a remarkable response by those two groups.
Yeah. Okay, Michelle, I see you have your hand up. You,
Yeah, I have a question.
yeah,
So in terms of you're talking about the general contractor and the work that they do on site versus what happens in the factory. I see in your drawings you have, a breakfast bar and you've got kitchen cabinets and appliances and all that stuff. Does that happen in your factory, or is that something that they do on site? All of like the flooring, some of that finish work.
yeah. So if it's modules, the modules are going to come 90% complete. All finished plumbing and electrical, all millwork, drywall, paint, tiles grouted, appliances installed. So yeah, no, they come very complete. So that's work that we would do in the factory. If it's panels, then that work shifts on site, at least panels for kitchens, baths, places like that.
Okay. And also my last question is what's the scoop on garages, covered carports? Are those mandatory now? Or so I had heard that you didn't have to have a garage anymore. Is that true?
You have to, if you have a project if you had a house that did not have a garage or had a substandard garage, meaning like only a one car parking area, and you are allowed under emergency permitting to put that back. So if you had no garage, you could put that back. If you had a substandard garage, you could do that too. As long as you're in that 110%, you have to, and if you had a two-car parking area, you would need to put that back. The ADU requirements, which are separate from emergency permitting and fire, if you're within a half mile of public transportation, it doesn't require additional parking. So that's kind of what's in the zoning code. And
Okay. And what
all of
about just like grandfathered prevailing setbacks? So we have one of those, houses that didn't have a garage, but a long driveway that went to the back that had the garage. We also had an ADU. Now that's what they call it. We called it a guest house when we built it, or an office or whatever. But we had a two-story structure down our driveway in the backyard. And I mean, they're probably like a foot from the property line. They would, are they changing? Can I build what I had there like that? Or
You
is that
can,
some,
you can.
okay,
Yeah, that
yeah,
it's specifically even non-conforming, even non-permitted um, um, buildings can go back in place. So it's an interesting one to to consider at the early stages of planning how you present what you're doing because you can kind of you can kind of take the best of new of restoring existing conditions in combination with you know adding new square footage so there's a lot of potential there.
okay, very good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Daniel?
Thanks, guys. Hi, Scott.
Right.
Was your experience that with plan check because you're within the 110% that's turning around so quickly, or was that on maybe even a project that's beyond the 110%? Is question number one. And question number two, if you could both talk about what you're doing or building in terms of fire mitigation measures and materials going forward. I ask that because I've been hearing from people that uh, in seeking insurance that we're all going to need on a go forward basis, that's not super exorbitant. That insurance companies are going to be looking towards fire prevention or fire mitigation measures. Thanks.
um A good question. Good questions. So number one, so far, the first three projects that are going through plan check now are all 110% projects. The Our own home is one that includes an ADU that significantly increases the size of our home beyond the 110%. But as I was saying to Michelle, this idea of being able to kind of harness the emergency permitting to help get things back in place. Adding that ADU, while it's a significant increase, is specifically included in emergency permitting. So that is great. We have a lot of projects that are exceeding that 110%, and um, two or three of them are just coming out of engineering and are about to go in. I think state plan check will be easy. Our latest plan check that came back yesterday from the state had zero comments, which is pretty unheard of. I think we're getting in a groove with Radco, who is the reviewer. And so I don't see a holdup with that. And I just will have to see what happens on the LA Department of Building and Safety side.
Daniel,
Uh,
did I misunderstand? You also wanted to understand about fire resiliency, right?
Yes, please. Yeah, I was saying fire mitigation, but resiliency or just in the new construction, what if people are putting new materials in or sprinklers or all sorts of things because I've
yeah,
just heard different anecdotally that
yeah.
even before the fire, we all know the horror stories about what insurance companies were doing with premiums or dropping people. But in the future, some people anticipate having to include these types of things, not just to protect their homes from another
Mhm.
fire, but also just to get reasonably priced insurance.
So I'm gonna take that, Steve, because that mostly involves what we're doing
Okay.
at the exterior wall level. And so this is coming from someone who had a home that exceeded a very high fire severity zone requirements before the fire. We had a fire rated assembly for exterior walls with a with an underlayer that was non-combustible. We had a metal roof with no overhangs. We had interior fire sprinklers, and our our house our metal roof was on the ground after the fire. So Steve and I attended a conference earlier this year where I heard a statistic that if you do all of the fire mitigation that is available, that you have a 40% chance of surviving a wildfire. So I thought that
Wow.
really? But the short answer is that it's all about our exterior assembly, and we take it really seriously. One of our suppliers, you see a lot of wood in our exteriors. That supplier is a fantastic resource based in Austin, and they're working on a Class A rated um, exterior wood treatment, which would be a game changer. That's the highest rating possible. We're also working with a firm called Monterey Engineering Group that we have started working with through working with Plant, and they are fantastic. And they design, because all of these systems have to be designed intricately in advance. Using an engineer to do that and knowing where everything goes is great for prefabrication, or required, but also it gives us the ability to employ fire sprinklers. Absolutely. Actually, that's a state law now, that all residential um, all residences have to be fully sprinklered now. But this firm we're also working with on exterior rooftop sprinkler systems as well. What I learned from the fire is we sure could have used a backup battery system that could power could keep and a cistern or water storage on site underground that would allow the sprinklers to work. So that our home would probably still be standing if we were able to do that. So anyway, we're trying to be better and better with each project, and there's a lot out there to make our homes better.
Yeah,
Great.
just
Thank you, guys.
we build to the architect's spec, so the much of this starts with the architect. And by the way, your landscape designer, because landscape is hugely important in all of this. Um,
Mhm.
uh, Having said that, and we have done design in the past, so Scott appropriately focused on your enclosure. So we like cementitious cladding. We like treated wood if you're going to use wood. We like metal roofs. We like tempered glass. That's a big issue. Glass that kind of non-tempered, that would bust open and let in embers. These are best practices. We like to use this. It's a product called Zip2 that is both
Mhm.
structural OSB, or it provides structural support. It provides some insulation and 1 hour fire separation. So that can be behind your cladding, which gives you even extra protection. So
Mhm.
as I said, we your architects on the front lines of defining the kind of key fire mitigation strategies, but we contribute to that too.
Great. Thank you very much.
Other questions? Awesome. Okay, well, really appreciate everyone joining. Let me, oh, you know what I didn't do? I will post very quickly Scott and my contact information in the chat. If you need it, you are welcome to reach out to either one of us directly. We do weekly tours at the factory. If you've not been out, please come see what we're doing. Pretty soon you will see Scott's home in production for some of Scott's clients, actually. And we hope we have the opportunity to work with you, but if not, wish you all the best for your project. And I'm posting that contact information right now. Scott, thanks for joining us again. And
Thank
I
you.
recorded this, so this will be online on our YouTube channel for if you want to share it with anybody that may have missed it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you all for joining too.
All right. See you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.